The first unit in corporate accounting deals with two chapters. The first chapter is issue, forfeiture and reissue of shares, and the second chapter will be underwriting of shares. So I'm very sure that this chapter is familiar to you. So let me just give you a brief introduction to company accounts. So there are certain theoretical part in your textbook. I want you to just go through all that, and let me start with this introduction. So there are different terms in the issue of a share capital. So we just discuss one by one. So the first one is authorized share capital. So authorized share capital, which is nothing but it is the maximum amount of capital that the company is authorized to raise from the public. So this can also be called as registered capital. For example, the maximum a company can issue 1 lakh shares at rupees 10, which amounts to 10 lakhs. So the maximum authorized share capital is 10 lakhs for a company. The next one will be the authorized capital is further divided into two, that is issued capital and unissued capital. So what is issued capital? So issued capital is nothing but it is a part of authorized capital and it is issued to the general public for subscription. So you might have 10 lakh, that is a maximum share capital. From that, the company likes to issue only 80,000 shares. So 80,000 shares at 10 each is 8 lakhs. So the issued capital is 8 lakhs. The difference between the authorized share capital and the issued capital is the unused capital. So unused capital is the difference. So it is 20,000 shares is the unused capital which the company can use this in a later date. Now further, the issued capital is it's divided into subscribed capital and unsubscribed capital. So the subscribed capital is nothing but it is a part of issued capital which has been subscribed by the public. So out of 80,000 shares, 60,000 shares are being subscribed by the capital. So 60,000 at 10 rupees is 6 lakhs. So 6 lakhs is the subscribed capital. The unsubscribed capital is what? Where it is a difference between the issued capital and the subscribed capital. That is unsubscribed capital, where the public hasn't subscribed to this shares. So the remaining will be 20,000 shares are not being subscribed. Further, the subscribed capital is being divided into called up capital and uncalled up capital. The called up capital refers to the part where the subscribers called up by the subscription called up by the company for payment. So the company is calling the public to pay. So if you see, the share value is 10 rupees, but they call up only for 7 rupees as of now. So 60,000 shares at 7 is 4,20,000. This is the amount which will be received by the company. And uncalled up is the difference between subscribed capital and the called up capital will be uncalled capital, that is 3 rupees. 10 minus 7 is 3 rupees, which is being uncalled. So the company can call it later. So later the subscribers or the public will be paying it. Then further, the called up capital is divided into paid up capital and calls in arrears. So what is paid up capital? So paid up capital is again a part of called up capital and this capital is actually paid by the public. So the called up is the amount which is receivable, paid up is the amount which is received. Sometimes one important thing which happens here is the shareholders might have defaulted in the payment of call money. Say for example, one shareholder hasn't paid for 500 shares at rupees 2. So if you calculate, it is 1000 rupees, which you call it as calls in arrears. When the subscriber has that is the public has made a default in the payment, shareholder. So that amount he hasn't paid. So that subtract with the called up capital, you will get the paid up capital of 4,19,000. So that will be the paid up capital. So this calls in arrears will be paid by the public or the shareholder in a later date. And the last part, if you see, that is the reserve capital. So reserve capital is nothing but it is a portion of uncalled capital not called up. Okay, so this amount is used only at the time of winding up to distribute to the creditors. So this is just an introduction of the different terms in issue of share capital. So first, authorized share capital, that is being divided into issued capital and unissued capital. Issued capital is further divided into subscribed capital and unsubscribed capital. The subscribed capital is further divided into called up capital and uncalled up capital. The uncalled up capital is further divided into paid up capital and calls in arrears.